3, 2, 1, showtime!
CO, hello, and welcome to Double Feature Movie Club. This is our 49th episode, and we're talking two Adam Driver movies. This week, we are joined with, as always, the amazing Diane, and our guest, Sam Carrico from the Film Fanclub.
Hello.
Hello. How are you both doing?
Great. I'm great.
Great.
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. Good to see you, Diane. Cade, how are you?
Yes, I am great as well. Sam has a storied history with one of our films here.
Yes.
I don't say up top. The two movies we're talking about is 2019's Annette and 2014's While We're Young. Both movies that have Adam Driver in it. This is our second year doing Adam Driver Night, which is exciting. He's got a lot of films, and he's building a whole catalog, and I guess we'll continue to have this if he continues making movies. But yes, I wanted to say Sam has a storied history with the film Annette, and I don't know if you wanted to walk us through that, Sam.
Well, I was just going to say also, Adam Driver, what a career. He's such a diverse. We got to see him pre-Kylo Ren and post-Kylo Ren in our double features that we watched. And I was just thinking about all the different roles that he plays, and he's just such a diverse guy. But yeah, Annette is, if you've seen my show, you know it's not a spoiler to know that I love the movie Annette. And so much so that I predicted that it would win Best Picture, and it's still up in the air. There was a lot of interference in that Academy Awards voting process. We were on track to win the Academy Award for Best Picture, Annette was, and frankly, I think we did, but the courts decided that it did not win. We had a little bit of legal issues. We took it to a few states. It didn't pan out the way we wanted. Hopefully we win this next time. But I think that Annette did win. I paid the price for it. So I've borne my scars. I have my scars to bear for this movie. I love Annette. I am the #1 Annette defender. I'm excited to talk about it with you guys today.
I'm thrilled to meet a fan of this movie.
Oh no.
Well, okay, so that's fascinating. We will jump into it. I'm excited to talk about both of these films quite a bit. They were, I think, strong films. And he, Adam Driver makes strong choices in everything he does, and in the roles that he selects, and even in the performances. And so I think he's a fascinating person to watch and all that. But we'll jump in to each individual things in a moment. This is the portion of the show in the beginning where we're talking about what we're watching, what's been on the watch list and everything. Sam's working his way through Loki for his bonus podcasts, so give a tease of that.
Loki is another show I have a storied history with. I love the MCU, liked up through probably WandaVision. I was probably too easy on Black Widow. This is about 2021, but a lot of it changed whenever Loki season 1 came out. I was very disappointed with Loki season 1. I didn't like the way they treated the character. So now over on the Film Fanclub podcast feed, which is available on Apple and Spotify, we're talking about Loki season 2. We've previously reviewed episodes 1 through 3, and for this next set of episodes 4, 5, and 6, I was a little bit worried that I hadn't given it the proper attention. So I went back and I rewatched Thor from 2011, The Avengers from 2012, I watched Captain Marvel, the first one, because we're also going to talk about Captain Marvel 2 on the bonus podcasts. And then I watched the making of Loki season 1. I watched all of Loki season 1, and then I rewatched episodes 1 through 3 of Loki season 2. And now I'm working my way through the last half. And my opinions, I will say, have changed a little bit. I'll let you guys know which way on the bonus podcast.
Okay. I just want to know if I should finish Loki season 1. I got stuck about episode 3 or 4, and I didn't go forward.
I wouldn't. You know what? And
do I need to watch it in order to watch season 2?
Oh, if you're going to watch season 2, yeah, but I wouldn't recommend watching season 2 is my short answer. But I would just drop it. I would just drop the Marvel brand if you could. It's kind of a mess. Cade, did you see the Variety article that came out this week?
Yeah.
And Marvel's a mess right now. It doesn't seem like it's getting any better. So,
well, it seems like, I mean, it's weird because you're seeing the narrative being written that like, the problem was there wasn't enough corporate control, that we'd let our quality control dipped, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, in theory, you would think giving a bunch of creatives, do whatever you want with these characters, do kind of make you a show, and make it like how easy is it a layup to write a show that you have full creative control over? It's going to be talk heavy, and you're going to be over budget, and so like that to me seems like, give me that right now. I would love to have the opportunity to be like, take any character you want from the Marvel thing, make it into something, and yes, it can be talk heavy, but that just seems easy to me. Like, but these people routinely have failed, and they're saying it's because Kevin Feige is not involved. And it's like, I don't know.
And that's bizarre to me, because Kevin Feige was not, to my knowledge, very much involved in the Daredevil. All the Netflix stuff, that was at the time a whole separate division. The problem has come since they've folded it all in to Marvel Studios proper. They used to have Marvel Television, they had Marvel Entertainment, they had Marvel Studios, and Marvel Television did the television shows, like hiring showrunners. Another thing came out a month ago that they didn't even have showrunners on half of these series.
Yes.
They just had a writer, and they treated it like a movie, basically. Which, I mean, I love films, I love cinema, but television is not television. It's just a different thing. We were talking off camera about how, to a degree, these are like corporate structures and stuff. You can't just you can make a fun independent film, on a smaller budget. When there's so much involved, though, you kind of have to treat it. You have to treat a television show like a television show and hire a showrunner. Yeah,
I mean, they said that we're
Just
now
to be
going
consistent.
to do. Yeah. Well, they're going to do pilots now and test things out like that. That was the whole thing. I mean, like with that, with She-Hulk, that how they said like they pulled things from that was supposed to be in the 8th episode to be in the first one, because they didn't, when they started seeing it all together, like, well, maybe we should explain what her backstory is and not wait till like the second half of the. Yeah.
Seems like it's a little bit like I don't know, like tweaking around the edges, where I think a lot of the actual problem is more at the core of it. That's a good example. Like, what if we put the origin at the beginning instead of flashing back to it? And I'm like, I don't know. Batman Begins is pretty successful, but it doesn't, like, it kind of works around it works around the origin. It's like non-linear storytelling in its structure. And if you do a television show that's also a little non-linear and it's good, then I think people will buy into it a little bit more. But I think I don't know. I think quality control is needed. I think whenever you let a Taika Waititi just do whatever he wants, you get Thor: Love and Thunder, which I hate, which we talked about on one of my bonus podcasts. Yes. So it's just I can't honestly give a prescription for here's how you fix Marvel. It's hard.
It is hard, and it seems like, I guess it's just kind of having the right creatives for the right thing, and sort of, I mean, like, but they're pulling plugs on things. Like another one, you have Mahershala Ali wanting to play Blade. How hard is that to make a script like that? That is like, should be the easiest thing to script and write, and like they just keep going back to the drawing board with this thing, and it's like that should be I could write that over this weekend if I had nothing else to do, and that would be better than whatever that they seemingly are making. Like, it is insane.
You can just pull out the original.
Yeah, I haven't seen the original. I need to watch it so that way I can properly criticize. But going off of the ideas that I had heard, like making Blade fourth build, or like
that's what they said in the article.
In his own movie, and the movie is filled with life lessons, and I'm like, is that really? You guys could tell me better. Is that really the essence of a Blade character? Like life lessons about? Yeah.
No.
So it's a weird, like, the executives, I don't know what they think the selling point of some of these properties are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they think I don't know if they get why audiences come necessarily.
Mm-hmm. Which is weird because that was what they knew more than anything before. Like, it was that they knew they were ahead of the audience in a lot of ways, and people they knew exactly where the trend was going before it was even there, and they've lost it. They've lost the plot.
Power corrupts.
Yeah.
Power and greed corrupt, no matter what you do.
Well, it's like anything. You exploit the thing until there's nothing left. Like that is routinely the case of, like, we're going to just pump this well dry until everything's gone and no one's having fun anymore.
It's not like the first couple phases weren't without problems. Like, exactly. I think I read either came from that book MCU, The Reign of Marvel, or whatever it's called, or the Variety arc. There's been so much Marvel is a disaster content coming out lately, but it was from one of those sources that the first few phases, they were kind of making it up as they go along too, but it was like a lightning in a bottle kind of thing. And also what you were talking about just now, Cade, was they had much better properties to work with. They hadn't already pumped that well dry in terms of an Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr. and a Captain America. They don't have those anymore.
And I mean, people say that, and it's like but pre Robert Downey Jr., I don't think general audiences knew Iron Man. Like I think, I mean, people knew Captain America, people knew the Hulk, people obviously knew Spider-Man. Like, there were ones that people knew, Fantastic Four, X-Men. But most of these were not things that people genuinely knew in the public sphere. Obviously, comic book lovers and things knew him, but I still think there's a lot left that they haven't mined yet. The fact that there's not, like, Doctor Doom's not in the MCU yet is insane to me. There's quite a few things. Villains.
But do you trust that they would put them in and do it justice at this point?
Absolutely
not. I want to see a Magneto in the MCU. I want to see Doctor Doom in the MCU. I'd like to see Galactus in the MCU as well. But at this point, with the current way things are going, like Kang could have been very cool. And it's no secret that I don't think Kang has been cool to this point in the movies. Oh. So it's like, I'm almost like, don't just stay away from those characters for a while. I'll just watch the X-Men films from Fox.
Well, so Kang is so interesting. The fact that they watched these Quantumanian was like, we got to center this whole thing around this guy. Am I crazy with, like, I'm not a huge fan of Jonathan Majors as an actor. The thing I loved him most in was Creed 3, and he has like this way of acting that is so kind of New York theater-y. Here's my knit cap, and I'm talking with, like, and it's all this very sort of herky-jerky, like, and it's all the same bit. It's the same bit over and over again, and it's like I've seen this by so many actors doing theater and different things. Like, it's nothing extraordinary about this. He's just talking softly and sporadically. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't get it.
I think he said he was trained as he was a classically trained clown, and he tapped into that for his performance as He Who Remains / Kang in Loki season 1. And I'm like, you don't say. I hated that performance. And then also tying into Loki season 2, I'm getting more of that clown acting, it feels like, and that's what you're describing. It seems like you say New York theater. I'm like, yeah, it's just him being a dancing clown the whole time. And then it doesn't help that Quantumania was a horrible film with or without him. It was just horribly. I did not like that movie.
No. It's weird that, I mean, and obviously that's the other thing that's caused them turmoil right now, which it's, we'll see how that all goes.
Yeah, winning cures everything. And when you're on a losing streak, there's, it's no surprise that all this turmoil is coming out.
Yes. Anything else, Diane? Did you have anything you want to say up top here?
No, haven't been watching anything. I went to see my niece in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
She goes to school at Oklahoma City University, which is kind of Oklahoma's equivalent of a Juilliard, I guess, for the theater. I don't know. But anyway, she was in a production of Dracula. the playwright Kate Hamill's version of it. And they did shows, I think 6 shows last weekend and 6 shows this weekend. They were all sold out. And it was a wonderful production. It was long. It was 2.5 hours with the intermission. But the acting was superb. The production was amazing. The amount of money that theater program has, just in lighting and equipment, and their black box was just, it was phenomenal. You know,
That's cool.
I've seen a lot of black box productions, and by far they definitely have some money behind them. As far as what
that's cool. Sold out shows.
All of them were sold out.
That's awesome.
So anyway, and so the good news, I think, from a family perspective, is we had family in almost every show. We all went different times, you know, just so. Now, Cade was supposed to go with me last weekend, and that didn't work out. So
wasn't my fault.
You missed. Wasn't your fault. wasn't your fault at all. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go. I mean, Diane and I go to a lot of theater things together, and I enjoy theater. I go to a lot of local theater things. So I love seeing theater. I love seeing actors and things. You know, that's what I enjoy. That's even whenever in films and what I direct. I mean, like my eyes always towards the actors and their performances and how directors elevate that and everything. And so with live theater, I'm always sort of saying, oh, that could be an interesting film, or how using the actors in some sort of way, you know, because I mean, I work a lot with different actors and stuff. So love theater.
Yeah. She's a senior this year, so she's graduating and she's getting ready to start putting together her information. She wants to get her master's degree in theater. So I wish her all the luck in the world and have her Venmo account. She provided that yesterday for anyone who wanted to provide donations to her higher education career.
Well, there you go.
I can provide that to you too, Cade, if you want to donate.
Throw it in the chat. I just watched Bram Stoker's Dracula for the first time. You mentioned Dracula, and that was a fun Halloween
based on that. Yeah, it's based on that same story, only you know, with a live production. And then Kate Hamill put some more of a feminist twist on it, where Van Helsing is a woman character, is a female doctor, which was unheard of at the time, yada, yada, yada. So, but anyway, yeah, I love that movie. It's just stylistically, it's almost glamorous, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just absolutely a beautiful, beautiful movie. And the guy who played Dracula, I think we were talking about him earlier, Cade.
Yeah. Gary Oldman.
That's a great role.
Love Gary Oldman. We were saying, we were talking, and I said that I think for actors, Gary Oldman is the gold standard of like just the film career that I mean, I would imagine anyone would want, of just being able to have this decades long career, just playing character actor. Sometimes you're leading, most of the time you're supporting, and you don't have to deal with all the, you know, the press things and all that. I mean, he's just beloved. I mean, he did step in it the one time he was ever pulled out into the front line when he did he did the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I don't know if you remember all of that, the things, and that was the only time he ever did a full press tour, and he got into some trouble, hot water there.
Like on the interview circuit.
On the interview circuit, he did a GQ article, I want to say, and it was, and then he had to go on to, I think was it Kimmel, and apologize for what was in that, and that was the only time he's ever really. And it's like, oh yeah, I mean, he's never had to deal with reporters, you know, pressing and stepping over their line and then causing things to be a headache and stuff. So, but I mean, yeah, and the other, you know, so I mean, just yeah. But anyways, point is, he's talented. He's so talented. I mean, that
he'll always be the perfect Dracula for me, even though I know that there were others in the black and white era. But yeah, that movie is just stellar.
It seems like it's
that for Halloween.
Me too. It was I can't believe I hadn't seen it. And like, it seems like the definitive take on Dracula. I'm like, I don't really need to see, I mean, other than live productions and twists on it, obviously I will go see that. But like, as far as an adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, the book, I'm like, I don't know how you top this, you know? It was a great film.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say Gary Oldman also had a great cameo in Oppenheimer. Like that.
That's why I was going to bring that up too. That was, just knocked it out of the park. I mean, I think he should be nominated for just the one scene. That packs such a punch. That scene in particular, and I just love Gary Oldman to no end. He's just one of the most talented actors of all time, and just has a screen presence that is just unparalleled. So yeah,
certainly of his generation, and I think the thing that I think he and Adam Driver have in common is that they're not afraid to take on roles that maybe other people wouldn't be comfortable doing. And he never gets boxed. You know, Gary Oldman could show up anywhere in any character in reality, and you would go, "Oh my gosh, that was the best," scene, like Oppenheimer, right? And I think Adam Driver has some of those qualities too.
I'd say some of them. I mean,
although much younger in his craft.
Yes, and I'd like to see Adam Driver do. I mean, like Gary Oldman, he's a master of like the voice too, and changing his voice completely, and changing his look completely. I mean, that's other people's doing, but I mean, he's able to really embody these other characters really well, and nail these other dialects and things. I have yet to see Adam Driver really do that, but I'd love to see him try. I think I'd like to see him push that aspect a little bit more. But we're going to talk Adam Driver. Thank you, Diane, for getting us back to the point that we have here. This is Adam Driver, or Adam Driver double feature. We are talking 2019's Annette, or 2021's Annette, and and 2014's While We're Young. We'll start with Annette. After this musical interlude, we are allowing Sam to give us the plot of Annette. So stay tuned. Okay.
All right. Annette is the 2021 Amazon original film. Adam Driver plays Henry McHenry. He is a stand-up comedian who is married to Marion Cotillard's character, Anne. They have a child who is named Annette. It is about their love, Adam Driver's career, how they raised their child. I don't want to get into it yet, but the pros and cons of the way that they raised their child. And it is... I don't want to say too much before we get into it, but yeah, it's about their marriage, their careers. It is a sweeping musical epic love story. That is Annette. It's great.
There we go. Simple and to the point. I must say I didn't really know the plot of this movie.
It's kind of hard to describe without saying the whole plot. Like, I don't want to say this happens, you know?
Yeah, I mean, in my head, I didn't even watch any trailer. I mean, I only heard you just say you liked Annette.
Yeah.
And know the poster, and I remember the sort of discourse. It's weird that what people took away from this movie and what was the...
I agree.
What people talked about. Yeah.
On your last episode, I heard you guys say, "Oh, I hear there's this one scene," and whenever I was like, "What are they talking about?" You mentioned the love scene while they're singing, and Adam Driver singing while he's making love, and. And I was like, that's not even like the top of my list of things that are memorable from this movie. So I don't want to say audiences are vapid, but sometimes, sometimes
that is
like, what?
Literally all I knew. It was a musical. It was, Marion Cotillard and Adam Driver. And that scene, and that's what just people talk about. I mean, that's what, and it's like, that is nowhere near like even the most, the thing that would be the most, impressive thing in the movie as far as like memory, things that are getting lodged in your brain. There's other things that are in this that are a lot more, I don't know, memorable, I guess you would say. But I had no idea about the child thing. So I was I didn't even know this was in the movie, except for that frame that Amazon uses as the little picture of the when you click on the film, the big full photo of Adam Driver with the doll, and I'm like, I wish I never saw that.
Yeah, me too. I wish you hadn't seen that either. I didn't know that. So that was all completely, the doll thing I was so put off by. And it's one of those things where it's realistic enough where I'm like, is that just an uncanny valley, like CGI child at first? And I'm like, no, that's like a wooden doll. And then, I don't know how much you want to get into it, but that makes the movie for me.
So, okay. Sam, you love this movie. I think it's fair to say, right?
It's a 10 out of 10. It was my Oscar pick of the year for 2020. It would have been the 2022 Oscars. Yeah, it's a.
So what won that year?
It was Coda. It was Coda, that Amazon or the Apple original film.
Cool. Well, okay. So it was your favorite film of the year and everything. So and you love it. And it's great. I want to hear Diane's take on this one. Diane, what did you think of this movie?
I as you notice, I have on my fuzzy house coat.
We all should have wore house coats.
In honor of Adam Driver pulling off the combination of Lenny Bruce, kind of comedian in the house coat, right? I think that's what they were kind of going for, that kind of shock comedian process. And
Lenny Bruce.
And that's a kind of, that's a kind of, comedian that he portrays in this movie. I will take a little bit of a difference with you on this one, Sam. There's a difference between a musical, which I love musicals, and a rock opera. And this was actually a rock opera that was written by the Sparks Brothers along with the director, and they intended it to be a rock opera. And so, like Tommy and other visual rock operas, like if they'd ever done Pink Floyd to the Wall, as truly a movie, then you would say, oh, that would probably be your favorite. But Tommy I loved as a rock opera. And
The Who.
A Wizard. The Who was part of that. And anyway, as far as a rock opera goes, if you're a fan of rock opera, this is your movie. Because I think it has everything you need from a rock opera. The first spoken dialogue was by our favorite Big Bang Theory character, almost at the end, So everything else is in music, and is in the dialogue is all saying, it's so that makes it the rock opera. Anyway,
did you like this, Diane?
If you were a fan of rock operas, I think you would love this movie.
Did Diane like this movie?
Yeah, what was your reaction?
I kind of like the doll instead of the child. And I kind of like what they did with it at the end. And I'm not going to talk about that because Kate gets me, and I get in trouble with spoilers all the time.
Well, yeah. Well, there'll be a section where we'll do the show.
I liked it better after I saw it than when I was watching it, because rock operas can be kind of hard to watch because people don't normally sing their dialogue.
Okay, Diane, you're dancing around. Yeah. So did you like this movie or not? Just, I need a yes or no.
I can't do a yes or no with it. It's feelings, and at the same time, I didn't really actually hate it. I mean, believe me, we've had other movies that I've hated far worse than this one.
Awesome. Yeah. So,
would I watch it again? No.
I would not.
So I agree with you that it's not really an easy watch. I wouldn't. The best art sometimes isn't, but it's not like I could probably watch Pirates of the Caribbean.
Climax.
Yeah, I hated that movie. I could watch Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl anytime, all the time. It's easy. I love that movie. It's a fantastic film. Annette is a little bit more of a different animal where you have to be in the mood for it. I have rewatched it pretty recent. Well, very recently, obviously. But and it's I think it's rewatchable. I just don't think it's like an immediate ooh, I want to see that again kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll jump in here.
Mr. Musical guy.
No, I mean I don't know if that's meant to say a positive or negative towards musicals. I grew up with musicals and I love musicals, and yeah. But I've been in musicals. But I okay. I'm so sorry, Sam. This was just one of the most tedious watches I've had. The music
is amazing.
Just the most grating sounds I have heard ever. And it is all of the movie. It is every second of this movie, and it's nails on a chalkboard to my ears. I guess music's subjective. I guess you would really have to like this. Give me Mamma Mia all the time with ABBA, wall to wall. I'm okay. It is so annoying. And I don't know how else to sort of say about it. I liked the first song. The first song, I was like, okay, this is fun. It kind of breaks the fourth wall. This is kind of interesting, and I love their little things with that. I must say, I didn't care for any single note that was played throughout the entire runtime of the rest of it. I found it to be annoying. That being said, I liked the idea of this movie. I liked what it was saying. I thought it was interesting. I liked the visuals a lot of this movie. The visuals it was stellar.
It
was striking. It was the way that was all told was brilliant. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. But the music was. It was hard. It was a hard watch.
Can I ask, are you familiar with the Sparks brothers?
I'm not.
So they are known for a lot of like repetitive lyrics. And I noticed that in the film a lot, and I could see how that could maybe... They have a song called This Girl is Crying in Her Latte, and it's literally the words, this girl is crying in her latte over and over and over and over again. It's good. But, it's that they do a lot with not a lot with the lyrics, but a lot with the instruments and things like that.
It's like if...
It's like a synth pop.
Yeah. Well, I'm a huge synth pop fan. It's like if the Talking Heads... If the Talking Heads repeated the exact same lines over and over again, that's what you would get. And I love the Talking Heads, my favorite band of all time, but it's like them destroying something I love. And it's like they're obviously inspired by the Talking Heads. That's got to be one of their biggest inspirations. But lyrically, they're not David Byrne. So let's just be clear about that. And I would even say production-wise, but that's...
Which makes it as a pop rock, a rock opera, a difficult watch because all the dialogue is in the music.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I think I would enjoy Annette more if it was a picture book like Sam's showing on screen right now.
No, so what I have, what I'm holding up
it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, if you turned off
I love the idea. Yeah. I think an image of a musical note was much better than any...
No, okay. So what I'm holding for those listening to the podcast version is I have a collector's edition Best Original Screenplay for your consideration copy of the screenplay that they scripted all the dialogue, all the quote unquote dialogue. So it's so meticulous, and I can just appreciate how much work went into this that you hate. But
no, okay. Well, walk me through it. So did they script? Which came first, the music or the script?
I'm going to say the script because that helps my argument.
Okay. No, but I did watch the movie with that in mind of like, so did they, because they had to have scenes to say like, here's what each of these things, or was it a collaborative, or like, here's what I want said, and then they do it, and then that's put into a screenplay. I honestly, that was fascinating, and I found myself, give me anything to distract from this nails on a chalkboard that I'm hearing this entire time.
Have you seen the Pink Floyd The Wall movie?
I have not, but I mean, I've heard the album.
I haven't. I'm not an expert on it, but it feels a little bit like Annette feels like a concept album taken to a movie level.
I would agree with that.
And I like that. I think that's great. I also like Pink Floyd's The Wall. I don't know if I would call that the best movie of the year that it came out, but Annette was. So because it has the themes and the story. Well, Pink Floyd's The Wall also has themes and story. Anyways, I liked this movie a lot because I think I was able to appreciate it as like, okay, this is... I also really like Les Miserables from 2012. Even though it has Russell Crowe, I like that. And most of the lines of dialogue are sung in that as well. So I just saw this as like, it's like Les Miserables. And I like that. So I did. I think all the vocals were fantastic. I did not mind the lyrics as I thought it should win Best Original Screenplay. I did not mind the lyrics. I was going to ask what your favorite songs were, but I guess that we shouldn't do that now.
Yeah, no, to me, it's the opening and it's downhill from there. But Diane, what did you like any? I couldn't even say anything stood out outside of that. And...
I have a bunch of standouts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I have to say it's a beautiful movie. And visually, it's a beautiful movie.
Oh, yeah.
Adam Driver is so striking in this movie. His hair is really long, and Marion, how do you say her last name?
Cotillard.
Cotillard. She is so beautiful. All you need is a camera in her face, and you've made a art. But she is so beautiful. I've seen her in many movies that you guys probably have never seen, and she is consistently the most beautiful thing on film. And I think for this type of movie, she was perfectly cast. I think
Diane
Adam
watches
Driver
French cinema behind our backs, Sam.
Sometimes Adam Driver and her have such beautiful chemistry. The storyline is that they're this glamorous couple that is in the public eye, and I like the way that the movie shows that without it being overboard. You know what I mean? It's just like they give you those hints of that throughout that isn't, so in your face about it.
Well, they do literal news segments that are like, here's what's happening with the characters. It's a little in your face, but I like that about it. So I don't know if that's
from their perspective. It's not from their perspective. It's from the viewer perspective.
That's
true too. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
That's what I mean.
You're watching it as the story of these two lives, and that part I actually loved. I am not a fan of this type of music per se. And I think that's what got me was the type of music it was. And Adam Driver, although I give him credit for singing his own songs, maybe he should have.
I completely disagree with you. It's not like he's a Russell Crowe or anything. It's not grading. Music is subjective, all that. I sat through Russell Crowe though, and if I could sit through Russell Crowe trying to choke his way through Javert's suicide, then I'll handle Adam Driver any day of the week. And it adds to that realism, I think. It would feel a little weird if Adam Driver started sounding like a perfect singer. Well, I guess it would be the whole movie.
I actually liked his vocal performance more than his emotive performance in this. Like, that was where I was like, he would sing these songs with such emotion and just be dead-faced. And it was like, can we emote what you're singing, please? Because you're like doing like this straining sort of thing, and he's just doing it from like this completely dead and like, and it was just very
Are you so
emotive songs.
I counter though with one of my favorites. One of my favorite songs, probably top 3, is "You Used to Laugh." Whenever he's having a mental breakdown on stage, like, what is it like when a comedian bombs so bad because of their personal turmoil, and showing that through song. And also, I thought that was a great idea. And then Adam Driver, I think, sells it in every way possible with the vocals and with the acting, the emotiveness. That's a word.
Okay. I agree with you on that when he's doing the comedian, the stand-up.
Yeah.
And that's I agree with you on that. I think he totally sells that. I think he totally buys into those portions of it. Where I think he falls apart a little bit is in the relationship between the two of them. And then towards the end, whenever obviously he's a drunk at this point, so you have to take that into consideration that he is playing a drunk. So, whatever, but every scene he's in with Howard from The Big Bang Theory,
Simon Helberg,
he steals that scene away from Adam Driver. You cannot take your eyes off of him.
He did a really good job.
He was amazing, and that's where I think you kind of lose.
I'm not a Big Bang. So you said that I didn't even put that together. That was the same guy. I was like, what is this guy from? I remember him from something. And I haven't seen
in the scenes where he and Adam Driver are together toward the end of the movie, I think you kind of lose Adam Driver's emotion from those scenes because Howard, I'm going to call him that because I can't think of his name, his emotions are so big. And he really steals those scenes, I think. I could be wrong.
I think that character should have been set up. Like, I feel like...
He was thrown in at the end?
Yeah. So, like, why wasn't there an act before where we started? I understand that we needed to get to, like, they wanted to get to the baby was the sort of point of this, but for something like this, didn't we want to see the sort of whirlwind romance, and then like you could have set up this what the accompanist character during all of that? Like, it seems like we're missing the inciting incident.
Yeah, he goes from being an accompanist to the conductor. Oh, because of what happens.
Well, at the very beginning of. Yeah.
I think it's fine. I think it's fine the way it is. I was gonna just also say I love his scene where he does the, I think it's called The Conductor, and he's doing the speaking. Great monologue in musical form, fantastic. Added to that character so much.
I did like that one, and but you never see him and Marion are never on screen together.
Well, at the beginning.
Well, when but they're not playing characters. You're talking about the scene where they're out of character. Where we're gonna get started in. Because that's maybe start whatever. I don't even remember what my favorite song. I don't even remember the title of my favorite song in this. Sam, how does that make you feel?
But that's when they introduce the characters.
Yeah, they start it as themselves in the beginning, and there's a post-credit scene too. I don't know if you caught it, but there's at the beginning they're out of character and they're talking about like welcoming the audience to the theater. So Simon Helberg at that point is just himself. But I thought they were together maybe when she was performing and he's accompanying, but that's not really a scene together.
He's over to the side doing like, I mean, I don't think that they were together at all.
That's not really a scene together, but yeah, I maybe there's a flaw there, but I refuse to see it.
But like,
I'm okay with not having that. I'm okay with that. Just
I'll tell you. Okay, here's
I need to change my battery real quick, so you guys fill me in.
Okay.
I didn't need to see them together at any point.
Yeah.
Because it was before Adam Driver and her got together, and this beginning is her and Adam Driver already together. So
yeah, I mean, to me, this sort of thing hinged on understanding that dynamic of that their relationship and that their love, and like this sort of movie would typically have the falling in love scene or but they're already from the get-go in love with each other, and so that seemed odd to me. This movie has, and I'm gonna say this with Sam whenever he gets on there again.
There he is.
You're there? Okay.
Hang on.
Okay.
Okay. Hang on. Oh, drum roll, please. All right, let's hear this. Let's hear this hot take.
No, I think this film is filled with just so much unnecessary fluff. I think that the theme, the themes, the scenes that are about the themes are so few and far between in this movie. And it's just filled with so much unnecessary things for what is supposed to be the thematic statement of this film. At the end of the day, you only need a handful of scenes in this movie to get to the last scene, which is the entire point. It's like you arrive at the very end of the movie before you ever get to the point that this movie's trying to make. And it's like, okay, that's an interesting point, but we didn't need all of this other stuff to get to that. And that was the most frustrating part.
You could have done without like the murders and stuff.
No, that part's good. No, I'm saying, okay. I guess you guys loved it. To me, the worst scenes in this movie were the comedy scenes. Those,
no, you're wrong.
I can't stand when comedy is portrayed in films and they're not funny. It was deathly unfunny. And he's like supposed to be about him being funny, and I'm like, this is irritatingly
towards the beginning of the film, it's supposed to be funny, and it's supposed to be he's good.
And that was not.
Okay, well, it's a musical. How are you going to be? You can be funny in a musical. I like Book of Mormon, but
I think you have to look at it more along the lines that part is a farce.
Okay,
it's a takeoff on. It's a farce of a comedian.
Yeah, I mean, this is all. It's a heightened reality.
It's a heightened reality.
Bruce wasn't that funny either. Yeah. Anyway.
But I don't even know what they're like. this is like almost like an impression of these things, and here's like a representation of how the effect that this has on an audience, and you know, and like here's, I mean, I get the point, but I it's hard to be like, here's this person, like we see her sing opera.
Yeah.
We don't see Adam Driver ever be funny in a movie in which he's supposed to be a legendary comedian. Well,
comedians can be successful without being funny. I mean, I've seen
a
Joe Rogan performance.
He doesn't ever do a joke. He doesn't.
Yeah. I think it's fine, again, because it's a musical. It's a heightened reality. I'm more bought into the movie telling me that he is funny without showing me, in this sense that it is a musical and you're doing it through song, and it's, you don't literally have to show me. It would be weird. Wouldn't it be weird if the music stopped and you just did a stand-up comedy set for 5 minutes?
Do a comedy set to music.
Okay, yeah. I was being purposely obtuse, Cade. You're supposed to just roll with it.
That was, I mean, like it I don't know. That was a standout to me, and it just kept going. And it's like, I get it. He's doing, but there was just so many scenes that just went on so much longer than they needed to, with the same lines over and over again, and never adding to the thematic statement of the film.
I appreciated it. I appreciated that they got around. Actually, I'm going to counter your own argument with your argument. Okay. I don't like bad stand-up comedy in movies, so I'm glad they just didn't do it and they just did a song instead. Bam.
Okay.
Nailed it.
They did win the Caesar Award for Best Original Score and Best Director and Best Sound, Best Editing, Best Visual Effects. I mean, they won a lot of awards.
It got like a 10-minute standing ovation. Are you going to argue with that, Cade?
Where it can?
It also, the director won Best Director Award too. But sure, tell him how he should have done it.
Yeah.
I don't like these episodes with you two, because what happens is that it turns around and it becomes. I was really hoping to pin Diane on my side this time, Sam, and you've turned.
You tried. But you failed to succeed.
Climax was a better movie than this. Climax was a better movie than.
Now you're just being mean. You don't even mean that, Cade. Stop.
Sam and I both agree about Climax.
I literally mean that. That is
like what. There should have been more incest in this movie, is what Cade thinks. Because Climax had incest, in case you guys don't know.
Yeah,
I love the love scenes in this movie. I thought it was great. I think everybody should sing through your love scenes. Yeah,
I even like the "We Love Each Other." So I was gonna about your point about one of your guys' point about the songs. I think the most grating song in the movie is "We Love Each Other So Much," but it comes back at the end. It comes back at the end, and that makes it
flares up again.
You know how audiences are. They need to be. It's like a rule of threes kind of thing. They're like, let's do it at least 12 times. Come on, they'll remember. When it comes back.
But do they love each other so much, really? That makes
They told me they do.
Okay, can we I just need to know from the two of you, what did you think about, was it Devyn McDowell at the end? The little girl at the end.
Oh. Are we going to talk about?
Well, I guess we could. We should probably do a few different.
I mean, we could just talk about her skill set, I guess. I mean, I don't know, but
she's got pipes. She nailed the song. I like the song.
Diane?
Okay.
I like the song. I mean, to me, that's the whole point of the movie, is that scene. Like, that is the entire crux of the film. That is the only thing that would solve it, to not have this awful taste in my mouth. It's like, oh, finally, a thematic statement, and about generational trauma, and about the effects that parents have through their own effects on that. I think that that's an amazing thing. I think that how something like love can be corrupted and made bad, and then how fame impacts that whole thing. Like, there is some things there that you don't get all the ties until the end, which is honestly good. But it's just, by the time you get to the end of it and you see all the threads that are pulled together by this last scene, it's like, all the little scenes that were necessary to build on that could have been tighter, could have been less irritating, could have, and then you see all these ones that are like, wait, that didn't. There's just so much in between all of these things that are pulling. Like, let's just start pulling all of this unnecessary stuff out of this film, and it would have been a better movie. And I don't know. There was so much fluff. I have in here, there's 6 scenes that you needed to accurately tell that story. The birth, the boat, and what happens there. The song with the light, I don't know how, we're getting into spoilers.
Song with the light?
It's spoilers from now on. So,
did we mention that the director won? Yeah, best director award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind whenever you're listening to Cade, dear viewer.
Yes.
I don't have a Caesar award when I say this, so don't.
Or an award from Kane, however you want to say it.
Can.
Kane,
Kane.
Don't have any award for
Canis
either.
Film Festival.
That's right.
But yeah, so I don't know, and so there was a few different where she sings to the light. That's what I was trying to say. And that sort of discovery, and then immediately the montage of the world tour, like, and then Hyperbole, and then prison. That is your story, and that's all you need, and it can be told in a half hour probably.
Maybe I'm
But
forgetting.
you wouldn't win Best Director award.
You wouldn't.
Yeah, it wouldn't. So wait, you are saying you would cut out the murders? All the
No,
murders.
boat. I said boat. So birth, boat, ghost thing.
Him killing Simon Helberg.
Simon Helberg.
You would have cut that?
I would have cut. I mean,
that's important.
But then there's no reason for her to say her dad's a murderer because she was way too young to remember her mom's murder.
But
Yeah,
she
that-
is
your
impressed.
version- just to be clear, your version wouldn't make sense. But go ahead.
The idea
and it
that
wouldn't
she's
win any awards.
But okay. It would not win awards. Here's the thing. I would not make this movie. I want to be very clear here. I'm just saying that if we cut out some of this stuff, we could make it a tighter film. We could make it into an hour and a half and make everyone happy. And it was like, okay, you can't get mad at an hour and a half movie, no matter what happens in it.
I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed.
Because like to me, or make room for a better first act. That's still my argument, is that we don't have an inciting incident. The inciting incident, if you're saying this, I guess the inciting is all the way when the murder happens, which is because
you mean the accidental death of Marion Cotillard?
Yeah, the Natalie Wood.
I don't want to say you're using murder very flippantly here. I don't want to.
Natalie Wood just fell off the boat, right? Let's not disparage Robert Wagner.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Let's not disparage. He's
wasn't quite the same scenario
yeah.
at all, but yeah.
In the movie,
Diane, are you a Robert Wagner defender?
I'm just saying that the two things are not the same.
Someone fell off of a boat.
Party there. You didn't
Christopher Walken wasn't. You're right. Christopher Walken was the wooden puppet in this situation.
Yeah.
I need to brush up on this story. I'm forgetting.
So
Christopher Walken is brought in. He says at least once a year he's brought into LAPD to give a statement about the Natalie Wood thing. Again, he has to keep saying I was asleep. I can't do a Christopher Walken impression, or I would say I would do it. But.
I wish you would. I was asleep.
More cowbell.
Yeah.
More cowbell.
Yeah. So tell me what you loved about this, Sam. It needs to be more positive.
Okay, so again, I already talked about it's a great way of doing a script without actually writing a script. I've seen Sparks live now. I saw them actually earlier this year. I think the same weekend I saw Taylor Swift, because I'm a man of culture, and they're just an extraordinary talent. This is my first Leos Carax film, and I want to see more from this talent. He's a great director. Adam Driver, probably my best his best performance in my opinion. Oh no, sorry, Marriage Story exists. I forgot Marriage Story exists. So that would be my favorite Adam Driver performance. I think I already mentioned the screenplay. The songs are great. I like the repetitive nature of it. We're talking about, I think the theme of the ending, which we're already in spoilers now, I do think makes the movie, but I like there's a lot of, they make the story so big and grandiose. I agree, Cade. Not necessarily everything not everything does fit with, like if you wanted to cut it down to its bare bones, you could, but I'm glad they didn't. Maybe it's 2 hours and like 37 minutes or something like that. I think a 2-hour film, just a 2-hour film would have been okay. I would have been fine with. I completely disagree. It should not have been a 130. I think Simon Helberg is a great supporting actor. I would have nominated him for supporting actor. I like his. I already mentioned. I like whenever he's conducting the orchestra and he keeps saying "excuse me a minute," and he keeps. I've never seen, like I talk about Adam Driver having a breakdown through song while performing as a comedian. Seeing Simon Helberg have a breakdown while he's conducting and having a big old Shakespearean monologue through song was great, and it was such that's kind of what this feels like. We were talking about Bram Stoker's Dracula earlier. This feels like a larger than life, grandiose opera is the right word. So rock opera. I'm going to start saying that now whenever I defend the movie.
It is. It's a classic rock opera. Bigger than life. Great.
And I understand if it's like, if I've explained it to people before, and people are like, that sounds like it'd be really cool and artsy, but I'm not into it, Sam. And I'm like, sure, okay, go watch Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. Also a great film, but you can pop it on anytime. Go watch The Dark Knight. Yeah, it's pretty accessible. This may not be an accessible movie. It's a great film. I don't think it's one where you land on it middling. I do think you love it or hate it. Luckily, I love it. I completely got it. I will say I'm rambling now, but I hated the wooden puppet up until the end. And then when she turned, whenever he saw the puppet there and she's fallen over and he sees his actual daughter kind of scared in the corner. And I'm like, wow, I get what they're going for with this film. And they did it in such a perfect, because the puppet, for dear viewer who's watching this just because they're a fan of Double Feature Movie Club, not because they've seen the movie, the point of the movie is that's how the parents, but to a larger extent, Adam Driver, viewed their daughter just as a tool, a means to an end, not really a person. And that is so well shown in the film. And I like a lot of the stuff leading up to it, but then to have that exclamation point at the end completely made the movie for me. I was like, that went from being, this is cool, interesting, to like, this is my favorite movie of the year. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I watched it at the end of the day. And I like I said, the idea of it more than I liked actually sitting through it. I think that was sort of, I do, in theory, like everything in it, but it's, when I saw it on screen, it's a little different. I love the visuals though. Visually, how they told the story was excellent. I found that to be.
If you were a voting member of the Academy, you would not have nominated this for anything. Not cinematography, not screenplay, not original song. Oh, you would have done my weakest performance in the film. You think is your best?
You think that's the weakest performance?
I think Adam Driver and Simon Helberg do a way better job than Marion Cotillard in the movie, but they have more to do.
Yeah,
her job was to be beautiful, and she was.
And then to die.
Yes, because most of the time, the girls, that's all we do.
That's fair.
We're just beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
she did a really good job of being beautiful.
Yeah, not her best work. She was good in it. I would rather her than somebody else, but I do think if I'm going to nominate one person from this movie, if I'm the studio and I'm going to put one person as put my my, what do they call it, campaign behind, I would do Adam Driver. I would actually probably do Simon Helberg as supporting. He would be my standout.
Yeah, I would agree, but but there's again, he doesn't have the first, the setup scene of all the what's supposed to be the drive of his character. His whole drive is Marion, and there's not a single scene with him and her, and that's bizarre.
He has a big monologue through song, though, and that's what I would be looking at if I was the Academy.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes a great clip to put in the clip show in the middle of
real, yeah.
And he gets murdered because of it.
But
I don't know that we needed to add another 30 minutes to get that scene in there of how they were lovers before she met Adam Driver.
I would agree if there wasn't so much plot. I mean, fluff. If there wasn't so much fluff, I would agree that let's not add anything. But we could always. If
Romeo and Juliet came out today, Cade would be like, I don't know, guys. I would cut out the stuff. I don't remember Romeo and Juliet. You would have them meet.
Mercutio. Cut out Mercutio.
You would have them meet. You would have them copulate, and then you would have them die. That would be Romeo and Juliet.
That'd be it. Get 3 acts right there.
Yeah. What's this nurse character, and what does she keep babbling on about? Now
so let me give you my take on this.
Yes,
we could go
please.
on and on about this, but I hated the music because I don't care for this kind of music.
What, Diane? That's crazy.
Just don't care for this kind of music. Never have. Probably never will. I would never go see the Sparks Band just because it's not my favorite thing in the whole world. There were songs of the Talking Head that I liked a lot, but I don't know.
I love Talking Heads. They've learned the wrong lesson from the Talking Heads.
Visually, beautiful. And the story is as old as time, and I think Adam Driver was stellar in it, and I think Simon was stellar in it. The only people I would recommend this though to is people who enjoy this type of music and rock operas, because I think that it is a genre that you either love or you hate. There's not a whole lot of in between when it comes to rock opera at all. So anyway, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah,
I know you wanted to know that, right, Cade?
No, I don't know. I think that's a measured take on it. I mean, I think that it's certainly it was what it was. I don't know. I guess I did find it interesting. I guess originally Rooney Mara was supposed to play the Marion Cotillard part.
I do think Marion Cotillard's a little old for Adam Driver, but I think that she nailed the role, and I bought them as a couple. Oh, that's hilarious, Siri.
That was mine.
Rooney Mara, I think, would have been a little bit more age appropriate for Adam Driver, and she probably would have killed it. But I like Marion Cotillard.
And then they replaced her with Michelle Williams. Was supposed to play the role.
Is she from the other movie we're talking about, or am I thinking of somebody else?
No, thinking
Who's
of
the blonde?
Naomi Watts or Amanda. Yeah.
Who was the person?
They all kind of look alike. All the
Michelle
blonde,
Williams. Don't they look alike?
Michelle Williams.
She was in Venom.
Yes, I mean she was in oh my God, Manchester by the Sea.
And she was in Steven Spielberg's dad in that movie, right?
Mother.
No, she was Mother.
No.
She was in The Greatest Showman too.
She could have been his. Or I'm not going to make a joke, but she was one of his parents in
The Fableman.
Okay, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
She was in The Greatest Showman too.
Yeah.
I need to see that.
Yeah. She's great. But people get her confused with Carey Mulligan. Those are the two. That's the joke.
They do.
Is that they get
They actually all kind of run together. I'm sorry. Maybe it's because I'm old, but they all kind of run together.
Have you ever seen Manchester by the Sea, Sam?
No, I've seen the scene though where the guy tries to kill himself.
Manchester by the Sea is one of my top ones. I just that is an excellent film. Just want to say that.
Right.
And
I'm not sure if I trust your judgment now, but we'll see.
No, yeah. Well, this sounded interesting. Watch it. I mean, I'm glad I watched it, but it was a chore, to say the least. But no. Okay, that is Annette from 2021. The next film that we're going to be watching is called While We're Young. It's from director and writer Noah Baumbach, who, as Sam mentioned earlier, also did Marriage Story with Adam Driver. So he co-wrote Barbie as well. Just trying to get people to be interested in this other film here. He's done a lot of cool things and stuff. And so we'll talk about that after this short little intermission, and I'll give the plot of that movie. Diane has the week off.
I do.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's intermission time. All these delicious treats are waiting for you at the refreshment stand. Delicious fresh popcorn, ice-cold cola, and candy you know and love. They're all ready for you now, so you won't have to miss any of the feature. Come and get 'em.
And now, on with the show.
Hello, I'm going to give the plot of While We're Young. It was, like I said before, written and directed by Noah Baumbach. It's a comedy drama. It's definitely a character piece. You have Ben Stiller. I mean, Adam Driver's a supporting role in this. He's not starring. So you have Ben Stiller and Naomi Watts. They play a married couple in their 40s. Ben Stiller, he's almost like the self-insert for Noah Baumbach. He is a filmmaker, mostly specializing in documentaries and in New York. And Naomi Watts is his wife. And they developed this friendship with Adam Driver and Amanda Seyfried's characters. They're a young couple in their 20s who Adam Driver is also interested in being a documentary filmmaker. And this friendship, mentorship sort of blossoms through how they insert themselves into their lives. Ben Stiller takes it as like a, it's invigorating for his artistry because he has been working on for several years now this single documentary and trying to get it over the hump of editing and everything. And then he sees and meets Adam Driver, who just on a whim makes these films and does all this stuff and is reinvigorated with artistry. We won't go into how that evolves just yet because we're going to start with our discussions here. Sam, what did you think about this movie?
I went into it fully prepared to love it. Loved Noah Baumbach's work on Marriage Story, and I guess I enjoyed Barbie enough to want to see more. And I went into it fully prepared to like it. I liked the first 45 minutes or so. I had a power surge here, and I realized on that day that you're supposed to clean the vents on your PS4. My PS4 overheated, and I fixed it, got back together, came back, watched the rest of the movie. It's like the movie, I felt like I was watching an entirely different film when I saw the second half. I ended up hating the movie.
Interesting. Diane, what did you think about this movie? Just shortly.
You know, it was like two different movies. I can see where you got that, Sam, because it had a lot of the two different movie take to it. I liked the first part, hated the ending. Really kind of liked it all the way through until it got to the ending because it kind of was like, oh, well, this is the only way you can be happy. And it's like, no, that's not true at all. And part of it could be I am generationally, older than you guys.
What? We're gonna reveal that for the first time on our podcast?
Oh, yeah. Like you can't tell.
Audio listeners could have not known your age, Diane.
It looked a little desperate to me.
What looked a little desperate?
The movie was kind of desperate, and maybe it's because Noah was going through something in his real life, and that's why he wrote this, because he was going through something and he was desperate about it. Yeah.
Are we destined to do this whole bit through the end of time with the three of us? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Because I know you loved it.
No.
This
really?
is an amazing film.
Talk.
And this is what I think. I watched this movie and I'm like, finally, this is the cinema I love. This is what I love watching. This is just a breath of fresh air. I'm like, why haven't I been watching this? This is going to be in rotation. I'm going to rewatch this all the time. I love this style of movies. Like, this is exactly in the wheelhouse of I watched it. I'm like, where's this been my whole life? I love this film. This is my comfort film. This is so brilliantly, it has a comforting structure to it, but still with interesting things to say. This is how you tell a thematic story. It is it's not heartwarming in the sense of even what it's sort of saying, but I just find it just so amazing to watch. I like Marriage Story. I love Noah's work. I think he's amazing, and I think that this in particular is another one of his great films. I love this film. I will agree that it does lose some things toward the end. I will that the first half is much better and everything, and that there is some things in particular, the sort of scene at what the guy called his memorial or whatever, that one was like, okay. And all that there was a little bit like that. But at the same time, I don't think it was a detriment to the film overall. And this movie was extraordinary. I honestly don't have a whole lot of notes in it because I just enjoyed watching it. Like, this was like, I'm putting my phone away and just basking in the glory of this film because I just want to hear these people talk, and just scenes lasted exactly the amount of time they should last. There was no fat in this movie. It was just people talking, and it was engaging, and it was like written so well of how people just, and they were just like, they were just talked. And thirdly, I don't know, or fifthly, I don't know what I'm at in this list, 800th thing I loved about the movie, there was just good music in it. Oh, thank goodness Bowie came in and told me what good, the Psychedelic Furs they play in the background of a few of these things. Lionel Richie's in it. It's like, it's just like, oh yes, music is actually good. I was going to, put a pencil in my ear after watching the other one, so I never had to hear a sound ever again. But I'm like, oh no, there's actually good sounds in that have been made with instruments and vocals. I love this film. So, go ahead.
I was shocked whenever I forgot that Noah Baumbach directed it whenever I got into the meat of it, the parts that I didn't like. And then whenever the title, the end credits started and it said written and directed by Noah Baumbach, my jaw nearly fell to the floor. Marriage Story is so much better than this. Marriage Story feels like I'm actually, I don't want to do spoilers just yet, but the characters in this movie at times feel like cartoon characters, and the Marriage Story actually feels like real characters throughout the whole movie. The movie Barbie has actually better characters than this movie, more believable characters than Adam Driver in this movie. I did not like, the writing is not well. I did not like the writing. I did not like the script. So I was just my big takeaway from this comment portion. Noah Baumbach disappointed me.
That's sad. That's sad.
How
the tables have turned.
I can't believe that this is how the episode is shaping up. That's kind of bizarre. Like I didn't know I would be on such a high on one, and then the next one. I was fully prepared to like this movie. I get into it, and I guess I'll start talking about the beginning. And, he meets Adam Driver and Amanda Seyfried. Mamma Mia, shout out. They're a young couple, but they're not like, all on their phones all the time. They're in the moment. They listen to vinyl, they watch VHS tapes. Whereas in a little bit of the flip of the traditional old versus young, the old man, Ben Stiller, old man, I say, he's in his early 40s. He's on his phone a lot. He's obsessed with work. His documentary is not working out because he thinks, the impression you get is because he's being too, neurotic about it or whatever, too anal about it. And Adam Driver just is freewheeling, dealing, and having fun. And I was like, okay, this is great. I bet what's going to happen is they're going to meet, they're going to live, they're going to let's be young people again. And then something will happen. They'll realize that they can't be young people anymore. And the best parts of life is having a healthy mix of the two. And the movie just does not do that by the end of it at all. It goes completely the other way and says, get off my lawn. I hated that so much about this film. Ben Stiller's good. This is a good role for Ben Stiller in the movie. He actually is. It's not like him doing a night at the museum. He is an actual character in this. Adam Driver is where I have a problem with how they write these characters.
I thought Ben Stiller was. I mean, I could watch this movie and I'm like, we need to. He's really great actor, even dramatically, and he's been done in a few other things. And I thought he was excellent. That's great. Diane.
Yeah, I think you kind of forget it's Ben Stiller, and you just empathize. You have empathy for his character. At the same time, I think I don't know. This is a tough one because I think the movie does a really good job of depicting how old and desperate you get at 40. You haven't accomplished your goals. He's got 6 hours worth of a documentary, and he feels like he needs more. She can't have children. They're in a rut. Their life is horrible. They meet these young, exciting people that are living in the moment who are actually grifters.
Spoiler alert, Diane.
Yeah.
So
Diane just loves dropping, like, luring people in and dropping a spoiler around them. But go ahead. We're in spoilers now. Yeah.
Don't ask me what I think.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I think Adam Driver and Amanda do a good job of playing the parts that they were given. And I think
Amanda doesn't have a lot given to her.
And whatever blonde actress that is that plays Ben Stiller's wife, I think she does a good job.
Watts
is it Naomi? Okay. They all look alike. They're all blonde and young. And so they do a serviceable job. I think they're believable. And
Naomi Watts is excellent in this movie. Naomi Watts is one of my favorite actresses, and she is extraordinary.
What wasn't believable is that their friends that were their age, get it that they're all caught up in having a baby, yada, yada, yada. I've been there, done that. Very few of those people that have children, if they know you have a problem conceiving, they don't throw that in your face. They just don't. So they did in this movie because they weren't really friends ever, evidently. Although they gravitate toward them again at the end. People don't do that. That's not normal that they would actually do that to her. So I'm thinking that maybe this is where it didn't ring true for me. Granted, I agree, when you turn 40, life is over. Everything goes down the ship drain, and you really need somebody in your 20s to make your life fulfilling. I can go with that, but I could not go with her own friend treating her like shit. I would say that was just jarring. Which you just
I would say that
if you would just have a child, your life would be perfect.
Yeah, but she's not
knowing she could not have children.
That's incorrect. Anyway. So they did not know that she couldn't have children. She didn't even come to. They had been trying, and they were unsuccessful. And that the whole movie is about her coming to terms with the fact that that's the case. So how would her friend know something that even that character didn't really fully realize until the end of the movie?
Wouldn't she be telling her about, like, hey, we're trying again,
Yeah, but she's not. But we don't actually know that she's been saying that to her friend.
Shots like that unless you're in IVF. It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to do all that stuff. Trust me, her friend knew.
But we don't. That's never said in the thing. And then secondarily, it's still like the idea that they're still maybe planning on doing that or not. Like that was not like, I mean, so it was still in the cards. They can always do another round. You can always do another round, another round, another round. Mm-hmm. They will take your money forever. Yeah. But she already knew that it wasn't going to work. You know. Well, they were asking her before, like, so I don't think that they knew, because they were like, "Why aren't you having kids?" Like that was part of the whole thing. So I think they kept that a secret within their thing. Like that's even mentioned with the father. Like, I think that was a sort of a secret within their marriage that they had even attempted it.
I don't think so. That did not ring true to me. If she was close enough friendship with this woman to go to this sing-along thing.
But the idea is that they're not actually that close. The idea is that it's surface level. Like all that is everything about
so the real friendship is with Adam Driver and Amanda.
Well, no, as you know, it's not. Yeah.
At the beginning.
Yes, because like then she shares that, like that's why she was like,
believe it or not, people who turn 40 that don't have children are not ready to kill themselves, and their life isn't over.
I hope not. I don't want kids, and I want to turn 40. So
trust me, it's not the end of the world that as depicted in this movie. So yes, it's not, and it doesn't solve every problem. I feel like you guys hyper focus. Like that was even the top. To me, it's the career stuff that is so much more interesting, in the art and what it means to be like an artist. Did you not see the end?
The ending kind of makes it all about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all these threads go right to this moment, and it's like, oh, okay.
To me, it was all about the sort of this idea of art and this idea of what is good and bad, and like in how people perceive art that's all very fast. And the fact that Ben Stiller is slowly coming to the realization that he was not going to be the success that he had hoped that he would be, and that perhaps that there are people ahead of him and people behind him that's already made these leaps and bounds past him, and the sort of what does that do to the psyche of somebody who
I like that setup.
Yeah. And like that is endlessly fascinating.
That you have to cut corners and tell lies in order to be successful.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the answer the movie gives you, and I hate that.
Yeah, there can be a person of integrity, and if you are a person of integrity, and you point out that this other person does not have integrity, you're told, "Oh, but that's how the world is, and so don't have integrity." And this is why you're not a success. It's because you did.
Yeah.
So go have a baby.
So it's partially. I think that's why it's so interesting, because I don't think that it's as black and white as that. But there is the aspect that, yes, that to be successful in some sort of situation, you have to be selfish. You see the guy, the father is alone in this sort of thing. He has people who adore his work, but he doesn't. There's no other person sort of in his life because he's dedicated this whole thing to this idea. And similarly, Adam Driver he's banished. I mean, like he used Amanda as a prop to just make his career better, and that. I think that that's all very fascinating. And the fact that Ben Stiller is more dedicated to this idea of this marriage, like by the end of the movie, that's the whole point, is that he's sort of choosing that instead of expelling all these things and being selfish and cutthroat and for his own good, that is what he deemed to be better. And I think that's routinely what a lot of artists and a lot of people who are trying to be successful, they like the push and pull that comes from either you're going to have time to do the marriage, to do the love, or you're going to be successful. And that's the two things that you're going to have. And
I think that's a horrible message for the movie to give people. Yeah. Like, what if I did want kids and I'm like, I want to be a successful filmmaker, and the movie is basically saying, well, you can't have both. You should choose. I would resent my children if I grew up and I wasn't successful. That guy, Ben Stiller, is going to resent his adopted child 20 years from now.
It's possible.
Maybe that's what Noah is doing. It could be.
I think that's just a truthful sort of way of looking at it.
Also, Noah Baumbach, being a successful filmmaker, for him to pull up the ladder after he is successful, now to say, well, you should choose between your family and being a successful filmmaker, worked out for me, but it can't for you. What the hell? I hate this movie so much.
I didn't hate it till now. Actually, was going to recommend it because I did think that that it has parts that are really funny, and I think that it is an interesting look at marriage.
Mm-hmm. And they're not even about comedians, and it's funny.
And
well, I like the dialogue.
Have you ever noticed that most movies about comedians are not funny because comedians themselves typically have issues?
Yeah, of course. Which on stage they should be funny though, right?
Yeah, well,
not if they're a shock rock.
Unless you're doing, yeah, exactly. Unless you're doing like a heightened reality rock opera.
Yeah. Lenny Bruce wasn't that funny. Depends though on who you watch. Yeah, depends on the audience. No. I was looking to see if Noah has children. I don't know.
He does.
Maybe or maybe not.
Yeah, that bolsters my point.
His wife does.
If he does have kids, then who is he to tell me that I have to choose? Oh my God, I hate this movie. And they should, yeah, whatever. I'm willing to get into. I'm chomping at the bit to talk a little bit more about the specifics of the turn. If you guys want to,
okay, we can jump in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I mentioned before that I really liked the setup. I liked, okay, he meets this young couple. They're all in on, bohemian lifestyle, blah, blah, blah. But they're not 40, so they don't understand what it's like to be 44. So Ben Stiller is going to try and be like them. But then I even thought that's where they're going, where he has the strain with the bicycle thing. And it's like, okay, he can't do this anymore, but he doesn't want to be an old, like a stick in the mud at 44, because he has a little bit of an example of that, with, I think, the father-in-law character. So he doesn't want to be a stick in the mud, but he also can't be bohemian. And he without turning into cartoon characters, I was like, he's going to realize there's something wrong with the way that Adam Driver lives. Maybe not wrong inherently, but just wrong for him personally. And the best thing is a mix between old and young and a happy lifestyle. You aren't restricted by your age in either direction, reasonably so. Obviously, you'll get strained muscle. What I thought before my PS4, again, guys, clean your PS4s because they will overheat. Before my PS4 overheated, I was like, the worst thing they could do is have these two couples cheat on each other with each other. And that they did that. And then they did another worse thing by actually... Actually, Adam
It wasn't
Driver
like
is a
full
cartoon.
cheating. Just to be clear here.
Kind of. We don't really know what Amanda Seyfried and Ben Stiller's character did together. I know they danced, but I don't know he didn't come home that night. And then they made Adam Driver into a cartoon villain who's literally like, I just don't know how to describe it. He's a cartoon villain. He might as well have had a mustache and twirled it. And then the ending to be actually young people suck. Oh my gosh, young people are terrible. I'm just going to go have kids and give up on my dream of being a filmmaker. Horrible movie. Horrible. I like the dialogue. The dialogue can be funny at times. The soundtrack, I didn't really notice there was a soundtrack there. I was like, yeah, there's songs in the background, whatever. But
they did Ghost in You by Psychedelic Furs at their block party, and it was just playing in the background, and I'm like,
I was too focused on the bizarre plot.
There's that scene, he gets hit by a beach ball, and he's like, ow, he starts yelling at the person. He's like, oh, I love you. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. That was just one.
So that's funny.
Yes.
Stuff like that is funny. I like that. And I actually, now that you mention it, I think that's closer to the beginning of the film, when we're still in rising action territory. I liked all that. But what I hate is the turn. I hate whenever they ayahuasca and then they kiss. I'm like, oh, there's some just drama. I understand that cheating happens, but I'm like, what's a lazy problem for Glee did it all the time. We want character drama between a relationship, have one of them cheat. And they do more than that too. Obviously, they have Adam Driver be a cartoon character, and she continues to work with him. Why would she continue to work with him immediately after the ayahuasca thing? We cannot hang out together anymore. And then there's so much. I feel like I'm talking too much, but do you guys want to talk more about the specifics that I hated?
It worked for me. I don't know how else to say. I mean, you have characters in rooms, and you have to have drama that happens, and I found everything to be escalating very perfectly, and never to me rang false until when the part that I snapped out of the movie was when he goes over to the table and tries to confront his scrum. That was the first time that I'm like, and I'll tell you, it's that guy's performance. And I know that I think that was a miscast of him. He's like, hey, son, your arm's on fire is the worst line reading I've ever heard in a film ever. And you couldn't cut it out because of how it starts to get sort of a little cartoony at that point. And we have to wrap up some things and plot threads. At the same time, though, I think just thematically, it has a lot of interesting things to say, and it's through dialogue, and it's through character, and that's brilliant. That's what cinema is. I don't know.
You know, this might be interesting for you guys as far as Noah Baumbach. Is that how you say his last name?
I've been saying
he did not get married to his wife, Jennifer Jason Leigh, until he was 41. Mm-hmm. They had their first child when he is 44. They divorced 3 months later. They separate.
Wow.
And the divorce is finalized in 2013 when this movie was made.
A fair thing to be bringing up. People write, there's a lot of
people write about their lives, and I think that's probably what he's done here.
And he's known for. I mean, that's what he is known for.
Marriage Story is so much better. It's a much better example of that. This movie doesn't even follow its own, or he's not even following the movie's advice. So he says the happily ever after is you have a child with your wife, then he gets divorced, and then becomes a successful filmmaker. I'm starting to not like Noah Baumbach. I have a personal grudge against certain filmmakers. I don't like Taika Waititi. I don't like Rian Johnson. And now I'm about to throw Noah Baumbach up there. I'm going to need to watch the argument scene from Marriage Story to calm down after this.
Punch a wall behind you.
Punch a wall.
I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lot of things, like I said, written down about this, because I just thought this was incredibly well. I mean, like, by the time that Ben Stiller and Naomi Watts is like arguing outside, I'll tell you, that's my comfort thing in cinema, is two characters nearing like all is lost moment, two characters arguing from their perspectives. Oh, I love that in cinema. That is like, this is my, just, I could watch just scenes where you have your two leads say their perspectives at each other that's been building this entire time, yelling at each other, their perspectives and the thematic statements of these movies. Like, that is what I love. Like, give me a compilation of all of those scenes in cinema, and this would be one of my favorites too. I just love that. It fills my heart with joy. Seeing characters.
Marriage Story is really good. Yeah, I agree.
I love it's structured, and it tells it. So, I mean, the whole idea of this person of jealousy, that is such a human trait. And that everyone feels, whether we say it or not, at different points of different people. That is not shown in cinema as much as love and other things are shown. I mean, like other human traits, it is very kind of rare in cinema. In the Hall of Fame, you have Amadeus, you have Oppenheimer just did it. I mean, there are things in which that Don't Think Twice is a really fun movie. I don't enough people talk about it, but it's about improv comics, and one of them makes it big, like on like Saturday Night Live, and the feeling that has with them, and this idea of like comparing success with other people. I think that is always makes for good cinema, and it's so rich and interesting, and I love that, and I think this belongs in that Hall of Fame. I would say not as great as those, but still excellent and should be explored more in cinema. I do love the themes of jealousy, and especially when comparing like art and success. That I think that's just a fun theme. And so if that's something you're interested in, if those movies are things that you like and everything, I would recommend watching this movie because it deals really directly with that stuff too.
What I appreciate about Marriage Story is that it does that what you're talking about with they have that big argument, and they don't. This movie, if this movie was Marriage Story, it'd have them get back together or something cheap like that. What Marriage Story does is they learn how to be friends and co-parent. It's a very small victory, but it feels like the Avengers just defeated Thanos whenever you see them successfully co-parenting at the end, and it feels realistic. It doesn't feel like a cheap happily ever after. And whereas this movie just does, the way that they solved it all and had a kid. I said aw out loud whenever I realized they were going to adopt. That kind of like what you're talking about with Annette. I'm like, I see you wanting to get there. I see you wanting to get there. Everything leading up to that, though, I did not. I just hated.
Okay. That's interesting. I mean, I would say, I mean, even though it was like the ending and everything, it didn't leave a like to me, the wrap up was sort of before that, and then that's just sort of like, here's what happens to these characters next. It's not the thematic punch of the movie. It's just here's what happened.
When did she decide to not work on his Adam Driver's project anymore? Did she leave during the dinner scene? Because maybe, and did I miss it explicitly?
Who's she? You're saying who's she in this?
She was going to produce Adam Driver's project.
She was,
Naomi Watts.
Oh, okay.
And did she perform? Did she? It seemed like in the scene, he was like, "Here's all the things Adam Driver did," and everybody, including his wife, was just like, "Yeah, okay, I don't care." And then we jump forward a year. What?
Yeah.
I would be so betrayed by my wife. I would get divorced. I would get divorced over that. I'll say it.
I think she seemed to, in that scene afterwards, like there was that sort of idea, like, I get your point, and I get that sort of, and this is how that. I mean, it does seem to. I mean, I would suggest that she probably didn't end up doing that, because I mean, he had everything that he needed by that point. Like, he even progressed past her. They were both left behind in the dust of this guy's rising star. Like, and even the other guy's going to do that. Like, this idea, like, they were just stepping stones to get to her father. And
so did her father produce the
yeah, I think that's what's
say spoiler alert at this point. Or
we had already we had moved on to there.
I think we're way past that.
I've been quiet because I didn't want to give away any spoilers or anything.
So what I do on my show is we have a little banner at the bottom that says spoiler alert. So you should get a banner.
Here's the deal.
We used to have a banner.
I think the people who listen to us now know.
Now no.
That you're going to get spoilers.
Well, the idea is to watch beforehand and join along, or if you don't care, that's why it's why it's called Movie Club. Thank you. That's what that's for.
That's why they call it that.
But no, I think we could talk around in circles. I thought Adam Driver was great. I thought that this was a really great character. I guess that's another weird one. I think that I know several people that are exactly like this, that are con artists, and people get sucked into their orbit for this person's own narcissism, and because they enjoy themselves in the art more than the art itself. But at the same time, sometimes these things happen and there's just something that people like. And so even if I think it's a cautionary tale from Ben Stiller's perspective of someone who you can get so obsessed in a work that doesn't end up being good. And that is, and you can devote your life to something and time and things, and you just can't let go of it. And people are going to pass you. People are going to do these things. And unless you take something else to give you some sort of satisfaction, i.e. having a loving marriage or whatever, you're not going to find satisfaction in life. And that he had to take something in order to do that, to have some sort of meaning in life. That is just the pure facts of that, or he was going to be sad. Everyone's not going to be a success. You have to choose what makes you happy. And he chose Naomi Watts and a child, and that's fine. And that's good. And I understand that that's not what other people are going to choose. I'm hopefully not going to have to make that decision with that.
You know what? Let me tell you, you're only a decade away from where Ben Stiller is. So just so you know, know that your life is almost over right now.
15.
So I think that movie kind of points this out. Just
no.
so you don't have much time.
No,
Unless you want to cut quarters and just tell a good story.
I would just like to reiterate that marriage is destined to fail. That guy's going to hate his child. He's going to hate his child.
Well, what is he supposed to change?
With the movie or him as a person? Him as
a person. Like with the options ahead, he's not going to be a success. So what?
He should finish his movie.
Oh, and it's going to be great.
You know what?
No, he should finish it just to say he finished it, and then he should continue working on his own stuff. He should have a healthy balance. Like I thought the movie was going to tell me that that was the moral of the story. I should have written. Give me the script. I'll do a Passover.
Yeah, there you go. Your life isn't over at 40 anyway. I mean, I think that's part of the deal with this movie too. It's like, okay, your life, you are never going to be a success.
But you only think that when you're on the other end of it. Like whenever you are that time, it always feels like the end of life. Wherever you're at, like that feels like that this sort of thing.
So the only choice is to adopt a child. You can.
I don't think it's the only choice, but I think given what the movie's telling about, like that is what's on the table of options. I mean, they'd had to go and add 5 different other options. Like from the narrow focus of this movie, that is what the tracks that you have as possibilities. I mean, unless you went through and started complicating the movie by adding 17 other layers to it, the movie's a tight movie, and it works for that reason. Like it works within the logic that it presents. And so I don't think this should be complicated more by adding other options and other avenues to contemplate.
Like a cheating storyline, like a subplot where they cheat on each other.
The idea is that she is in love with the past idea of him. That's the whole point of that thing, is that the idea
so why
that
is she having a child with him? I mean, I think that's a huge mistake.
They should have got divorced.
Yeah. The reality is, the way this is presented, he cannot be a successful documentarian because he's 43. So why is she staying with him?
He can't be a successful documentarian because he's fell out of love with the actual art form, and he doesn't experiment anymore. And that in that he's so in his head about every minutia of it, and he keeps putting these own external things of like, oh, we don't have enough money to edit. Meanwhile, Adam Driver is out there editing and doing all this stuff on his own and all that, and so you keep adding on these things that are these blockades to your success, and that's your own fault, in a lot of ways. But at the same time,
you shouldn't be a father.
That's why I'm not going to. I have bought. I guess I shouldn't. Who am I to talk? I've bought into the premise of the movie because I'm like, I want a career. I don't want a kid. So like there's that. But I do think it's a little. It metatextually is very weird for a successful filmmaker who has children and is divorced to tell people to give up on their dream of filmmaking and to get married and have a kid. It is
such
so
an
weird.
Awful argument to be bringing in people's personal lives of the authors of these things. I mean, people routinely do it in criticism, and it's like, this is art. This
Movies
is what
have
they
a
make.
message. And sometimes the messenger is important.
Let's not psychoanalyze the screenwriter and the directors of things. I think that is so. I just think that's.
I think it's just sad that something that he truly believed in and he really, really and truly wanted, that he had to learn that particular way, that he was horrible at it and never going to be a success, and he's middle-aged. I mean, I think it really hit me in that, first off, your life isn't over at 40. And if your dream is to make documentaries, then why would you not at 40 just because you went down the wrong path? I mean, I don't know. It seems like if you love something for decades like that, would you really just say, okay, I don't love that anymore, I want to be a dad?
Right.
Instead.
Yeah, I agree with
I don't
you.
know.
Talking about the setup and all these things. It's like, how do you balance and the movie just says, take your ball and go home. Give up. I hate that. It's such an uninspiring movie.
Or it's saying, people who do documentaries lie and cheat, and that's the only ones that we're watching. That's how they got there. I mean, so yeah.
I cringe at what they think of the news industry.
No. Well, okay.
And maybe
those are
that's what
some
the
interesting
statement
things.
is. Yeah, maybe that's what the statement is that, people who make movies are cutthroat and will use other people. It was just kind of heartbreaking to me to see somebody who was seemingly vulnerable, like Ben Stiller
What they should have done had him at he's finished his movie. He's at a very small, like indie, festival. And then he sees the paper or news thing of Adam Driver. And he's like at a world premiere Disney event or something like that. Something like big budget. He's made it, but he's a sellout. And Ben Stiller is there at the premiere of his thing, maybe with his however, or his wife's got or they're talking about how they're going to adopt. You tie them together, and it's like, well, he compromised a little bit. He was able to embrace Adam Driver a little bit, but he still maintained his integrity. He's not as successful as Adam Driver, but he's happy. He's happy because he's done the thing.
Then you don't get to confront anything within yourself as an audience member. Like you're given this like that's the whole point of that. Like giving the audience this comforting pillow that, oh well, the sort of sellout trope that we have would not be the point. The point is you're supposed to sort of
sellout was the only option I have is to become a dad now.
No,
right.
It's
so let me become another seriously flawed dad.
I don't think it's portrayed. I think it's portrayed as here's option, and you're sort of confronting these ideas. And I think like that's what you guys are doing, is confronting the ideas of the film. If it landed on a nice happy bow of a thing like, oh look, everything worked out for Ben Stiller and everything.
Well, it did. I mean, it did. It's just that he made the life choice, right, to give up on his dreams.
And that's positive. Like I don't think the film that's.
The film is saying that is positive, yeah, and I'm saying that that's not. I'm saying the movie is very flawed in its messaging, and he's headed for a very unhappy life ahead of him.
If he was 60, I think I could say it's okay to give up on your dreams. But at 40, there's still so much you can learn, and what is he going to?
They're both going to be stay-at-home parents for the next 50 years, and that's all they have left.
Yeah, like their friends. That's all they're going to be from here on.
Yeah, they just became the caricature of their friends by the beginning of the movie. Or by the end, they became their friends from the beginning. They're like, yep, we'll just do that, I guess. I'll settle for that. And I hate my kid.
Well, I think that is sort of the point, is like there is this cyclical thing. I mean, like the movie begins and ends with a Golden Years by Bowie, like it was a lullaby to begin, and then it's the very end. The idea that it began with the baby and with the parent, like, so there is this sort of thing that they were sort of destined to make these sort of choices, which a lot of people, to understand, this is a choice a lot of people make at this stage. Like, to say that they shouldn't be protagonists of a film is kind of crazy.
It's not like they're like one of them works at a McDonald's and the other one works at a Target or whatever. These are like, what do they live in, like New York or something? And they're like, he's a filmmaker. He's able to get by somehow. Like, these are very, like, I don't want to say bourgeois, but like they have a higher income than I do. And I'm like, oh, I should feel bad. He should give up on, like, what the hell? A lot of people with less of an income are asked to make those decisions that you're talking about every day. And this film is not interested in exploring them. It's interested in exploring a bourgeoisie make-believe version of that with horrible messages. This movie sucks.
Okay. Okay. Don't think we're gonna spin. We're spinning wheels here at this point. That's great.
Are we doing ratings anymore? Do we do the emojis anymore?
We don't do the. We've murdered the emojis, Sam.
I was going to give.
We just recommend or not.
Yeah, we recommend or not.
5 bags of popcorn and a little boat emoji and then a little dagger emoji is what I would give it.
Okay.
For I would not recommend While We're Young. I only give that a trash can emoji. So that's where I want to put it.
Wow. Diane, would you recommend this movie?
Sure, watch it. I think you should kill your dreams. I think the only people who should watch this movie is under 40. Because you should feel all the pressure of buying a home, finding the right, spouse, having a kid. Anyone under 40, you should absolutely feel that pressure. I want you to feel that pressure. Give up your dreams. Buy a house. Get a spouse, or get a spouse, buy a house, and then start having children, because that's what you're supposed to do. That's the American way. Do that. Anyone under 40.
Sounds like a wholehearted endorsement
40,
from Diane.
Anyone over 40, none of this is freaking true. So, I think it's written for 2 different groups of people. I think it's
go watch Marriage Story. That's a better movie.
Yeah, probably more accurate too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Marriage Story is great.
Better, Cade? Is it better than this? Can I get that? Can I get you to admit that Marriage Story is better than this?
He really likes Marriage Story.
I mean, I like Marriage Story's in. So I really, I would say, I think Marriage Story, again, like, I've become more and more obsessed with this idea of, like, how much of a story needs to be in there to order to do it. It's just, and like in the structure of films and what in the ebbs and flows and all that. This is a tighter, more streamlined, more thematically like plotted film than Marriage Story is. Marriage Story is overly long. And in comparison, if we're comparing the two things, but it does have a more artistic styling to it, and it does have, it has this ebb and flow, and it has all these. Its structure is kind of like, it's odd. It's not. It's herky jerky at times, if you want to put a negative to it. But I don't know. I mean, it certainly has a more artistic quality to it.
That scene in Marriage Story, whenever Scarlett Johansson has to read the letter at the end of the movie to her kid, I watched it a while ago.
I know, that's kind of where I'm like, I would have to revisit to kind of.
Scarlett Johansson, at the beginning of the movie, they're in couples therapy, and they write a thing to each other about all the things they like about each other. And I don't think they are allowed to give it to each other or something. I can't remember. I'm maybe making that aspect up. But then Scarlett Johansson, or the kid, finds it and asks her mom to read it, and it's Adam Driver's all the things he likes about her. And and that's kind of that leads into them deciding to be able to co-parent together. That one scene in Marriage Story, not even taking the big fight scene. Obviously, the fight scene's better than anything in this movie, but that one scene in Marriage Story with the letter at the end is better than this entire movie.
No, yeah, I mean you're right. That's a really great scene, and I think it does have a lot more things in it. Yeah, I mean, I'd like Marriage Story. I mean, to me, right now, I mean, obviously some fresher and everything, and I don't remember a lot. I mean, I remember Laura Dern and then oh gosh,
Oh yeah.
His lawyer. He's
dead now. He was in another movie that
he was in MASH. He was in
Ray Liotta.
No, not Ray Liotta. I'm talking about his not Ray.
Why did I think it was Ray Liotta?
No, it's okay, Diane. It's the guy. It's Alan, the guy from MASH. Alan Alda.
Just you should have said West Wing, and I would have known it.
Oh, yeah.
Are you talking about Ray Liotta? You're not talking about Ray Liotta.
I am talking about.
Was in it. Okay, sorry.
He was.
You're right, Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta was Ray Liotta was the one that he goes to, and they say, "Sorry, you can't use me because your wife already did." He went around. Yeah. She went around town taking meetings with a bunch of lawyers so that he couldn't use them.
Oh, yeah.
And that Ray Liotta was the one who kind of explained that to him, which I think that was news to a lot of people, that's how that works. And it seemed like Noah was very obsessed with like, well, this has got to be in the movie, even if it makes whoever this is supposed to be based on, even if it makes that person look. And and Scarlett Johansson doesn't seem like she's not portrayed in the movie to be that vengeful. And that act happens off screen, and yet it's such a really vengeful act. But whatever.
Marriages or divorces become very messy, Cade.
Well, then what? Okay, I need to rewatch and everything. But anyways, while we're young, I loved it. I would highly recommend it. It's an easy watch. It is a fun watch. It is at the same time, though. I mean, it does make you reflect on things. It makes you reflect on success. It makes you reflect on what you value in life. I think it says a lot of interesting things about art and what documentaries should be and what's the ethics of art and creating things. I think that it says interesting things about different people's relationships and how people use other people, in the case of Adam Driver, to get what they want, and interesting prospects of like just the conflicts that come with getting older. I think that Naomi Watts had a really interesting character. I know we didn't talk too much about it, but I found all her scenes to be very interesting about going with the mothers and all that different stuff. There's a lot of really interesting stories, and everything. It was as long as it needed to be. There was no excess. It was brilliantly paced, simple story with a lot of interesting things that to think about and ponder on. I love this type of movie. It's just people talking, and and great pacing. So, and themes. And it leans quite a lot on the performances. It does fall apart a little bit in the third act. I will say that, and I will agree with you guys on that. I wouldn't have done it exactly the same way that they do it. It does get somewhat. Some things get a little farcical there at the end that I'm like, we could have pulled back a little bit, but I don't think it destroys the film. So, okay, those were those two movies. Now we're going to head into preview time, where we talk about our upcoming films.
And now, preview time. When it comes to entertainment, you can't beat a good film. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
So next up on Double Feature Movie Club, it is going to be our 50th episode. So it's exciting. It'll just be Diane and I next time, and we'll be kind of celebrating the different things that we've done and how it's been. I'm excited. I can't believe we've made it to 50. That's exciting. Wouldn't have thought that when we first started, that it would continue all this and everything. What we're talking about is we're going to be kind of looking back at some of our favorite directors and writers that we've had before on the show, and things that people that we've had a history with. So one of our first one we'll be watching is from director Rebecca Miller, and she directed Maggie's Plan, which I absolutely loved. It was my #1 film last season. I thought, or #2, I don't remember what it was. It was between
I
that.
don't remember. Both of us had it in their top
Yes,
5.
exactly. It was. I really loved this movie. It was just an excellent film, and I want to see other things by this director. And so she has a new movie out she came to me, and it's not on streaming just yet. So we're going to do one of her earlier films, which is The Private Lives of Pippa Lee. Where can people find that, Diane? Where can they stream it? Oh, it's on Tubi.
I love Tubi.
Well, I like on our 50th special, we're going to have a Tubi movie. That's good. So yeah, we're gonna watch that and watch it beforehand too. I'm excited to see that. Since that's the only work I've seen of Rebecca Miller, it's gonna be interesting to see if that was just like something that I really just. Her films are interesting because they're like
they are. They're quirky.
They're quirky
and interesting and not predictable.
They're not predictable.
Yeah.
And she seems to be in this wheelhouse of like, where she does like these, like with Maggie's Plan, this romantic comedy thing, but in a way that I don't think is really for general audiences. I think that's sort of this idea that she keeps running into with like these films aren't received all that well, seemingly from like they're kind of split with critics and even audience, and the audiences don't seem to care for it all that much. But not selling the whole thing all that well. But I think that. She has something interesting. I really loved Maggie's Plan. It is one of our least watched movie or reviews, so go and listen to that. But I think a lot of people just don't know about it, and and that had Greta Gerwig in it for our connective piece here as well. So it was Greta Gerwig, Ethan Hawke, which Sam has a connection with Ethan, yeah. Don't you have a connection with Ethan Hawke?
What is my connection with Ethan Hawke?
Well, didn't they with Reservation Dogs and stuff?
I mean, we talked about it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're referring to? Oh, okay.
I started to say, I used to date a guy who was good friends with.
Diane probably has a better connection with it.
That's cool. That's cool.
I forgot Diane has a better.
I love how you go to me. You're like, Sam has seen one of his shows, and Diane has an actual cool story.
I actually have a cool story about the guy, but hey, it could be another time.
That's a
Did
spoiler,
you know?
Diane.
I did not. You know, Rebecca Miller is married to Daniel Day-Lewis.
She is.
You did not know that. And
they made a movie together, which we could have done that movie, but we didn't.
But we didn't do that movie. She's also Arthur Miller.
Yes.
For those of you, daughter.
Arthur Miller, the greatest playwright in the history of mankind.
Yes.
So that, yes.
Crucible, all that stuff, yeah.
Death of a Salesman. Death of a Salesman, the greatest thing that's ever been put on a piece of paper ever. So, yeah. Take that.
I don't know.
Shakespeare.
I got the Annette script right here, so I don't know about you, but this is on paper, so.
There you go.
So yes, good bloodline there.
I think that's why her movies are kind of quirky. They're kind of written for the writer and people, maybe. I don't know, but yes, I found them to be entertaining. I'm not an intellectual, so I can't really say. I'm probably missing key points, but it doesn't matter if I'm entertained, right?
Yeah, I think that's why I think hers works on these levels that are interesting. Like I just love films that have like these, and I talk about that in the review if you ever want to listen to our review of Maggie's Plan. But it's one of these movies that I just love this theory that, which I like to do with some of my films, of this idea that you can have a surface level that is just good for like a general audience and they can understand it, and there's nothing crazy, because like when you start to dig deeper at times it causes the surface level to be messed up. of trying to make a thematic statement and different things tied together. I think that's probably what you were having with this, with the movie we talked about earlier. It's like things start to shift and crumble and cause other issues that makes other levels not work really well.
Don't get me started again.
Maggie's plan it works on every single level of what all the thematic things, and you can continue to dig deeper, and it still works completely as just a romantic comedy film. But it has all of these interesting 5-act structure, these interesting themes, and these performances. That's one of my favorite Ethan Hawke performances, and no one talks about it. And Julianne Moore's also in it.
Yeah, because he doesn't play the hero in this at all.
Mm-hmm.
And in Maggie's plan, but I kind of like that. I mean, I like that they're seeing another side of Ethan Hawke, because he usually is always the good guy, kind of thing. Anyway,
sorry, that is not what we're supposed to do.
And the upcoming movie, The Private Lives of Pippi Lee. I love this part. Robin Wright, one of my favorite actresses, she plays Pippi Lee.
Cool.
And then Keanu Reeves is in it. Alan Arkin, which we almost said a while ago. Winona Ryder, Julianne Moore, Blake Lively.
Wow.
People like to be in her movies. It's let's see, the Rotten Tomatoes on it is 71% of users liked it. Which which is, trust me, while we were young, only 51% of users liked it. And you were, at least you were in the majority on that one, Cade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then our second film that
you don't want to. Okay. I'm excited about seeing this one because I think I'm going to love this movie.
Yes, I'm very excited about it too. And our second film is that we're watching next week is one that from a director that we have a storied history with here on Double Feature Movie Club. It is one of our ones that we've had. She made a film that was on our very first season of Double Feature Movie Club. It was both on both of our bottom 3 films that we talked about and hated it. And it's routinely the one that we talk about as one of the worst movies we ever watched. I don't think that's accurate, but it is the joke one that we do. And that was from the movie The Bling Ring, Sofia Coppola. Later, we went to talk, we watched The Beguiled. I mean, I love other things. Virgin Suicides is a great movie from hers. And she's made a lot of really great things. And The Beguiled was one we reviewed here on the show, and we both really loved that movie a lot. Love Sofia Coppola. She made a bad movie with Bling Ring, but that's fine. We accept that, and we're going to watch her new movie that's out in theaters right now, which is Priscilla. And I'm excited to look at that and see how that is.
I want to see that too. That looks good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She definitely brought the dark on Elvis, which is, people like to halo Elvis.
Yeah.
So, and I did not see the movie. Did you both of you see
I was going to say, yeah, last year's movie was such a pretty pristine look at his career. So I'm excited to see a more dark side of that tale.
Yeah. I liked the Elvis movie last year, just from a stylistic standpoint. And
I was let down.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can get sort of both sides of it, but I ended up on the side of, I think it was pretty good. I think it was in my top 10.
Yeah, I disagree with you there. I shouldn't have watched the trailers, because I watched the trailers for that movie thinking it was going to be really, really good. That's where they do, what is it? Unchained Melody in one of the trailers, and it's really good. And I was like, wow, this movie is going to be a hit for me. And then I was just like, yeah. What was it? Tom Hanks is horrible in that movie. And
Tom Hanks is a cartoon character in that.
Yeah, I remember Kate
I'm a snowman.
Yeah. I
Tom
have
Hanks
not
can't
seen
do
the movie, but I remember Kate talking about Tom Hanks' accent was horrible.
Well, yeah, Tom Hanks, for one of our favorite, and he's great in a lot of things, not a great dialect person. And he historically hasn't been. Like, he did, like, Forrest Gump, and he kind of did one in Charlie Wilson's War, which I think is his best performance. And that's to my knowledge, I can't think. And then Elvis.
He did one in Otto.
Mm-hmm. I never saw that one.
That one sounded depressing.
Very depressing.
Yeah,
almost as depressing as while we were young.
Yeah. Annette, by the way, just to bring it back, Annette has 71% of critics gave it a positive score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, interesting.
76% of the audience that reviewed it on Rotten Tomatoes gave it a positive score. Of course, that doesn't mean they all gave it a 7.5 or whatever. It just means they gave it a recommend. But it has fewer than 50 verified reviews, so that's also not a lot of people have seen Annette, which would be, I think, its biggest struggle.
Yeah. Too bad it's not just, free on a service that anyone could.
Well, I totally understand if people didn't want to give Amazon Prime any more money. I get that.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. Well, great. That is the show. Sam, where can people find you and where can people watch the Film Fan Club?
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Cade. Diane, always a pleasure to see you as well. The Film Fan Club Show is on a hiatus right now. We typically do episodes Monday nights on YouTube, youtube.com/The Film Fan Club, but we've taken a little bit of a hiatus since July, and we're going to come back early 2024. Hopefully the strike will be resolved and we'll be able to have more. It's a little bit of a rut in content right now. And but we have been doing bonus content, like I said. I say there's a rut, but we found some things to talk about over on Apple and Spotify. My camera went out, so that's okay. My Apple and Spotify, we are talking about Loki Season 2. So go check us out on wherever you get your podcasts.
Awesome. Great. Diane, where can people find us?
I'm sorry.
I know.
The frozen image of Sam is just too much fun. It's just too much fun. You can find us anywhere, everywhere you listen to podcasts, obviously on this YouTube channel. And be sure and click all the buttons, like us, subscribe, leave comments, send Cade emails. She'll be fine.
Yeah. And I'd say, you can follow us on X. Instagram's really where we have the most things.
I would say Instagram and TikTok. TikTok is a lot of fun. I love the stuff you put out. Your content on TikTok.
On my TikTok at the Cade Thomas. But if you want just Double Feature Movie Club content only, we are on Instagram at Double Feature MC. So follow us there. And if you want to join us live, anytime we go live on Sundays, and then it's available next day as a podcast on Mondays. Sam, I love having you on here. I love having you on each season. I must say this whole bit of you and Diane ganging up on me is getting old. I think this might be.
Someone who agrees with me.
And it's not on purpose too. Diane and I swear to God, Cade, we're not having secret meetings behind your back or anything. It's all natural. So I can say that's something we accomplished
ahead of time. Yeah.
And Noah Baumbach, we did what Noah Baumbach wasn't able to do. We were able to provide a natural look at life and how it goes.
Well, great. Yeah. No, and go back on our past episodes with go watch our climax episode from last year, and it was I don't remember what the other one was paired with climax, but yeah.
It was it the Noah Nicholas Hoult movie?
Yes. Which again we were completely
the American Psycho ripoff.
Yeah, Kill Your Friends and Climax. That was last year's Halloween episode, and that was again the exact same thing happened this time.
No, I think you're thinking of what we did in March, because we did another thing in March. So we did the Monster and Night Moves for Halloween a year ago, and then I know, because every time I come on, I have something to promote because it coincided with my Star Wars video, and I forgot to mention this time, everybody, if you want to see some of my work, go watch Killers of the Flower Moon in theaters.
Yeah, that's right. Show the hat. If you have the hat. You have the hat.
It's a cool hat. It's a really cool hat.
Yeah. They only give it to the cast and crew, I made the movie.
Yeah.
That's it. You made the movie.
Yeah.
Well, great. I'm not going to deny that one. Great. Yeah. That's the show. Join us for our 50th special next week and watch The Private Lives of Pippa Lee and Priscilla in theaters, and then join us here for the show. See you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.